The giant scandal brewing over in Georgia has just gotten a lot deeper. As a newly released set of documents, they expose the fact that Ms. Fani Willis was actually lying when trying to defend her actions in public. And these, by the way, are on top of the fact that Congress has just launched an official investigation into Ms. Fani Willis's alleged affair. And all of this is throwing a real wrench into the RICO case against President Trump over in Georgia, which now has a real chance of just getting thrown out altogether. Now, to start with, let me give you a bit of background on what is actually happening here. Ms. Fani Willis is the district attorney of Fulton County, Georgia, and she is the one that's pushing forward the RICO case against both President Trump as well as 18 of his different associates. However, on Tuesday of last week, Ms. Fani Willis was hit with some unexpected bad news. That's because one of Trump's co-defendants, he introduced a bombshell court filing, you can see it up on your screen here, wherein he accused Ms. Fani Willis of hiring her romantic partner as the special prosecutor in the Trump case and paying him a cool $650,000 in legal fees, while at the same time, he was taking her on beautiful vacations to places like Napa Valley, Florida, as well as the Caribbean. Now, the man in question is named Mr. Nathan Wade. He's a married man who allegedly was having an extramarital affair with Ms. Fani Willis prior to being assigned by her to be a special prosecutor leading the case against President Trump. And so essentially, this 127-page court filing, it accused Ms. Fani Willis of hiring a man she was allegedly having an affair with, who also happens to be a private attorney with, quote, little to no experience trying felony cases, much less complex RICO cases. This man was then subsequently paid significantly more than the other attorneys, and he ended up pocketing a cool $650,000 from the Fulton County taxpayers, after which he turned around and bought Ms. Fani Willis lavish vacations to places around the world. And also, just as a fun fact, Mr. Nathan Wade, he filed for divorce from his actual wife one single day after he was assigned to be a special prosecutor in the case, and that furthermore, according to his actual wife, quote, his wife alleged in court filings that Wade did not disclose to her over $700,000 in earnings from the county, but continued to draw from her bank account despite the clear inequity in financial circumstances. Very cool. Now, if you would actually like to get a deeper dive into the allegations and the evidence that were presented in these court filings, well, we did a much deeper point-by-point analysis in a previous episode. If you want to check it out, I'll throw a link to that previous episode down in the description box below, which I will mention is that description box right below those like and subscribe buttons, both of which I hope you take a super quick moment to smash so that the YouTube algorithm will be forced to share this information out to ever more people. But regardless, that was what Ms. Fani Willis has been accused of since last week, having an improper relationship with the top prosecutor in the Trump case, a relationship from which she benefited financially. And while at first Ms. Fani Willis made a point of staying completely quiet on the matter, well, just 3 days ago, she broke her silence. This past Sunday, right ahead of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Ms. Fani Willis gave a 35-minute speech at the historically black Big Bethel AIM Church. And pretty much like clockwork, she began her speech by claiming that these attacks against her were racially motivated. Here's what she said, quote, you cannot expect black women to be perfect and to save the world. We need your prayers. We need to be allowed to stumble. Ms. Fani Willis then continued by implying that Mr. Nathan Wade is also being targeted because he is in fact a black man. Quote, I'm a little confused. I appointed 3 special counselors. It's my right to do. I paid them all the same hourly rate. They only attack one. I hired one white woman, a good personal friend and a great lawyer, a superstar, I tell you. I hired one white man, brilliant, my friend and a great lawyer, and I hired one black man, another superstar, a great friend and a great lawyer. The black man I chose has been a judge for more than 10 years, runs a private practice more than 20 years, represented businesses in civil litigation, served as a prosecutor, a criminal defense lawyer, special assistant attorney general. God, isn't it them who's playing the race card when they only question one? They're playing the race card when they constantly think I need someone from other jurisdictions in some other state to tell me how to do a job I've done for almost 30 years. And so essentially Ms. Fani Willis is suggesting that because only 1 out of the 3 prosecutors are being targeted, and because that one prosecutor happens to be black, then obviously the allegations are racially motivated. She specifically did not mention whether or not those other 2 prosecutors were also taking her on lavish vacations. However, you might have noticed something that Fani Willis did specifically mention in her speech. At the very beginning of that quote that I just read to you, Ms. Fani Willis made a special point to mention that, quote, I appointed 3 special counselors. It's my right to do. I paid them all the same hourly rate. Now granted, that is a good defense. By paying all 3 of her special counselors the same hourly rate, it appears that no one was given preferential treatment. However, the only problem with that defense is that it is not true. According to internal documents that were obtained by the Daily Caller News Foundation, Ms. Fani Willis's alleged boyfriend was getting paid significantly more per hour than Mr. John Floyd, one of the other prosecutors. And that is, by the way, despite the fact that Mr. John Floyd is considered one of Georgia's top experts when it comes to RICO cases. Quote, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis falsely stated on Sunday that she paid all special prosecutors working on the case against former President Donald Trump the same hourly rate as her alleged romantic partner, Nathan Wade. As recently as May of 2023, her office paid the attorney, who's considered Georgia's top racketeering expert, John Floyd, only $200 per hour, while Wade, who reportedly has little to no experience prosecuting RICO cases, was earning $250 an hour. And it was not just the hourly rate. When you compare the total amount that Mr. Nathan Wade received compared to Mr. John Floyd, the disparity was rather shocking. Quote, in total, Wade's firm has received nearly $654,000 from the Fulton County District Attorney's Office since the start of 2022, according to county records. Over that same period, Floyd's firm received just over $90,000 per county data. Now, granted, because they were charging by the hour, this disparity might have just been caused by the fact that Mr. Nathan Wade had never prosecuted an actual RICO case before. He did not know what he was doing, and therefore it took him that many more hours to figure things out. But regardless of how it happened, the end result wound up being that while the top RICO expert in Georgia earned about $90,000 and took Ms. Fani Willis on 0 vacations, Mr. Nathan Wade earned $654,000 and allegedly took Ms. Fani Willis on many vacations. Also, it's worth mentioning that besides just the differences in the hourly rates, well, the contracts that these two men were given by Ms. Fani Willis in her district attorney's office, they were different in other ways as well. Such as, for one, Mr. Wade was actually allowed to work more hours on the case in general, as well as the fact that Mr. Wade's contract, it included coverage for things like work-related travel and lodging expenses, while Mr. Floyd's contract did not. And also, just for your reference, in terms of the third special counsel, Mr. Nathan Wade also was paid significantly more than her as well. Quote, billing statements reviewed by the Daily Caller News Foundation likewise showed that Mr. Wade's monthly earnings are substantially higher than both Floyd's and the other special counsel, Anna Cross. Cross earned $37,729 between July of 2022 and September of 2022, according to billing statements obtained by the Daily Caller News Foundation. Her firm, the Cross Firm LLC, has been paid close to $48,000 since 2022, according to county data. All right, just to pause here for a super quick moment, you know that this is an election year, meaning that quite literally anything can happen. During the previous election year, there was a pandemic, you had riots on the street, there was looting in pretty much every major city, and supermarkets began running out of both food as well as toilet paper. And so, before we have a sequel to that year, prepare yourself and your family right now. And the best company to use is today's sponsor, My Patriot Supply. They've helped quite literally millions of Americans stock up for an emergency, and right now, to our viewers, they're offering a phenomenal deal. Head on over to preparewithroman.com where you can save $200 off of their essential 3-month emergency food kits. These food kits are awesome. They last on the shelf for 25 years, and they provide you with 2,000 calories of breakfasts, lunches, dinners, as well as snacks right when you need it the most. And so, when everyone else in your neighborhood and your community is scrambling for food, you and your family can just hunker down and not miss a beat. And best of all, they ship quickly and discreetly directly to your doorstep. In fact, if you order by 3 p.m., they provide free same-day shipping. And so now's a great time to stock up. With their promo deal, you can buy a 3-month emergency food kit for every member of your family and save $200 off of each one. And so head on over to preparewithroman.com and finally cross it off your to-do list. I'll also throw their link down into the description box below. According to those numbers, Mr. Nathan Wade was paid 11 or 12 times more than Anna Cross. Now, all this evidence between the initial court filings from last Tuesday, as well as these new documents which have been brought to light, well, they have sparked an actual congressional investigation into this whole matter. Specifically, Congressman Jim Jordan, acting in his official capacity as the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, well, he launched an official probe into Mr. Nathan Wade. Here was what he wrote in a letter to Mr. Nathan Wade announcing the investigation. Quote, according to a recent court filing, you have been paid more than $650,000 at a rate of $250 per hour to serve as an attorney counsel and later a special assistant district attorney in the unprecedented investigation and prosecution of the former president and other former federal officials. This filing also alleges that while receiving a substantial amount of money from Fulton County, you spent extravagantly on lavish vacations with your boss, Ms. Willis. The letter then throws a bit of a curveball. It goes on to say that the House Judiciary Committee, they have in their possession evidence of federal funds potentially being used to finance the state-level case. Quote, the committee has information that the FCDAO, which is the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, received approximately $14.6 million in grant funds from the Department of Justice between 2020 and 2023, and given the enormous legal fees you have billed to the FCDAO, there are open questions about whether federal funds were used by the FCDAO to finance your prosecution. Now, this development obviously is rather wild, because depending on what this investigation of theirs actually yields, well, we might learn that this massive amount of money that was given to Mr. Nathan Wade was not coming only from Fulton County taxpayers, but rather from the Department of Justice at the federal level, meaning, in practical terms, it will be all of our tax dollars sending Miss Fani Willis on all these lavish vacations. Now, in his letter, Mr. Jim Jordan, he set a deadline of January 26th for Mr. Nathan Wade to provide Congress with the relevant documents in this particular case. And once he does, and once those documents come to light, I'll make sure to give you an update on this case. In the meantime, if you'd like to go deeper into anything that we discussed in today's episode, I'll throw all my research notes. They will be down in the description box below this video if you're the type of person that likes to dig into the weeds. And then, if you are watching this episode and you're thinking to yourself, man, I love this content, I love this type of presentation of facts, but I just wish Roman would publish more episodes every single week. Well, you're in luck, because I do. Over on Epoch TV, our awesome no censorship video platform, I publish anywhere between 1 to 3 exclusive episodes of Facts Matter every single week, usually on topics that are, quite frankly, just too spicy for here on YouTube. And so if you would like access to those extra episodes every single week, including a huge backlog from the last 3 years, well, you're in luck, because the Epoch Times is running an awesome promotional sale. 25 cents a week for 6 full months, which, if you do the math, works itself out to just be $1 a month. And so indeed, this sale is great. We frankly do not make any money on this sale. The idea is just to get you in the door, get you watching the videos, reading the articles, checking out the infographics, falling in love with the content, and hopefully being a subscriber for a long, long time to come. Years, perhaps even decades. If you want to take advantage of that sale, the link will be right there at the top of the description box below. You can just click on that link. It'll take you to the sale page where you can try the Epoch Times for, again, just $1 a month. Hope that you indeed take advantage of that sale and that you join us over on the Epoch Times website. The link is right there at the top of the description box below. And then until next time, I'm your host, Roman from the Epoch Times. Stay informed. Most importantly, stay free.